This is the voice of Ambazonia, broadcasting across the homeland and the diaspora. Today's special editorial is The Missing Man in Abuja. Milan Atom must speak. Fellow Ambazonians, the name Milan Atom once rang out with power and promise. He stood on stages, rallied crowds, and championed our right to freedom from tyranny. But today, his name lingers in a cloud of silence, suspicion, and unanswered questions. Milan Atom, co-founder of SCACUF and later a figure in the so-called Southern Cameroons Alliance, has become the missing man in one of the darkest chapters of our struggle, the abduction and rendition of President Sisiko Ayok Tabe and the 9 members of his cabinet from Abuja, Nigeria, in January 2018. Touted then as a key strategist and mobilizer, Milan was expected at the Abuja meeting. Instead, he vanished from the scene, and when the dust settled, the leaders were gone, kidnapped and delivered into the hands of our oppressors. He claimed she was delayed in Kigali, but travel logs and investigations suggest otherwise. There is no evidence that Milan ever transited through Kigali. In fact, it is strongly alleged that he was already in Nigeria days before the fateful arrest. Even more troubling, he later said he arrived at the hotel, saw no one, and assumed that our leaders had overslept from drinking. But we know the truth. Most of them do not even touch alcohol. And then he claimed he saw Nigerian security forces asking about him and simply walked away. No arrests, no confrontation, just a quiet retreat. How convenient. When the new government was formed under President Dr. Samuel Ikomisako and investigations into the Abuja incident began, Milan Atom was asked to provide testimony. He refused and stonewalled, and he was fired. Still, he remained silent. Now, in 2025, he resurfaces, calling secret Zoom meetings under the banner of reawakening, mobilizing from behind closed curtains, just months before La République du Cameroon's presidential elections. May he use that meeting, scheduled for Saturday, July 19th, to finally speak, because the independentists and the voice of Ambazonia have received the invitation, and yes, we will be there. Here are the questions the people demand answers to. Where were you, Milan Atom, between January 3rd and January 6th, 2018? Why did you lie about passing through Kigali? Why did you suggest our leaders were drunk and hungover? How did you walk away unharmed while Nigerian agents were searching for you? Why did you not raise an alarm or inform the diaspora when the leaders went missing? Why did you let us sue the government for firing you? What changed between your 1-year break and your sudden trip to Nigeria? Who did you meet in Nigeria? Nigerians or Cameroonian officials? What deals were discussed? And can you prove with immigration records where you really were? Fellow Ambazonians, we cannot be naive. Leadership is not performance. It is accountability. The blood of our people cries out for truth, and the revolution will not be sold behind our backs. As we approach a decisive moment in our history, we remind you, freedom is not negotiated in whispers. It is won in the open with courage and clarity. Let the man who missed the meeting in Abuja come clean. Let Milan Atom speak if he still can. This has been the voice of Ambazonia. Truth, resistance, and sovereignty. Thank you and have a happy rest of the day. This is the voice of Ambazonia, broadcasting across the homeland and the diaspora. Today's editorial: have Francophones grown a backbone or just more noise in the echo chamber? Today is Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Fellow Ambazonians, a startling broadcast on CRTV this week caught the attention of many. Two Francophone journalists, yes, on state television, finally admitted what Ambazonians have shouted from the mountaintops for decades: that since 1960, Cameroon has never elected a president. Instead, France appointed first President Amadou Ahidjo and later Paul Biya to administer its colonial interests in Africa. And now, from a hospital bed in Paris, Paul Biya, aged, incoherent, and incapacitated, has announced his candidacy for the 2025 presidential elections. But he wasn't speaking on his own behalf. The message came via the French embassy. Not Elekam, not the CPDM, not the people. France. But while Francophones are only now beginning to whisper this truth, we, the people of Ambazonia, have lived it. We knew it in 1961 when our land was annexed. We confronted it in 2017 when peaceful protesters were slaughtered. And we declared it when we rose to defend our homeland with nothing but our bare hands and unbreakable will. And yet, among us, some voices have emerged from the shadows, blaming the revolution rather than the regime. Among these voices is Maître Julius Achu, a man who has never won a single notable legal case in his entire life. And now, with no legacy of service, he dares to call the Ambazonia revolution a mistake. Why? Because we took up arms for self-defense. Let's remind him. Article 51 of the UN Charter guarantees the right to self-defense for all peoples under aggression. It is not only lawful, it is moral. What would Achu have us do? Kneel? Beg? Write another memo to Biya? To cowards like Julius Achu, the problem is not the genocidal regime in Yaoundé that has burned our villages, tortured our families, and murdered our children. The problem, in their eyes, is us, the people who refused to die in silence. He is not alone. There are others, so-called Ambazonian intellectuals, who say we failed to change the status quo. But here's the truth. It is not the revolution that has failed. It is the system that was built to never change. And we, unlike them, have refused to be complicit. As for Biya's so-called candidacy, this is not democracy. This is colonial theater. Let us be clear once more. Biya is not our president. Yaoundé is not our capital. October 12, 2025 is not our election. The government of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia hereby declares a total lockdown in October on a date to be announced soon. No campaign, no ballot, no collaboration. We will not be used to authenticate the fraudulent resurrection of a rotting dictatorship. To those Francophones now waking up, join us, not just in words, but in action. Boycott the elections, reject the embassy, and refuse to be ruled from Paris. To those in Ambazonia blaming the movement instead of the murderer, history will remember. We stood, you knelt. We fought, you feasted. We bled, you blocked. But freedom is not a gift for the faint-hearted. It is the inheritance of the brave. We, the Ambazonian people, have chosen that inheritance, and we will not turn back. You've been listening to the Voice of Ambazonia. Today's editorial: have Francophones grown a backbone? Written and delivered by Dr. Martin Mungwa. Stay alert, stay united. Freedom is our future. This is the Voice of Ambazonia, broadcasting across the homeland and the diaspora. Today's special editorial from the Voice of Ambazonia is titled, Who Mandated Agbor Balla? Fellow Ambazonians, once again, we are forced to ask a question that should not even be necessary in a land crying for justice. Who mandated Agbor Balla to speak for us? Who sent him to campaign for one Cameroon when the people of Southern Cameroons have made it abundantly clear through their blood, their ballots, their boycotts, and their burial grounds that they want absolute separation? Let the record show. Agbor Balla speaks for himself, not for the martyrs of Gabu, not for the mothers of Moyuka, not for the millions displaced across Nigeria, the forests of the Libelem Hills, or the concrete jungle of foreign refugee camps. He was in Canada, speaking. He joined the so-called Grand National Dialogue, smiling. Now he resurfaces again, selling lies of coexistence, dressed up as peace. But Balla knows better. He knows because Cardinal Christian Toomey himself commissioned a poll that found that over 69% of Southern Cameroonians want total independence. Not decentralization, not federation, not more bilingual signboards, but complete and irreversible separation. So we ask again, who cursed this bachelor boy? What drives a man to ignore the graves of his own people just to sit comfortably among those who dug them? Let it be known across the valleys and the mountains. Agbor Balla has no mandate. He is not the voice of Ambazonia. He is merely an Ambazonian in name only, or an Aino. To the international community, be warned. Do not confuse positional ambition with popular representation. To every Ambazonian listening, stay alert, stay informed, stay committed. We are not here to adjust chains. We are here to break them. This is the Voice of Ambazonia, and our position is unchanged. Total and absolute independence for the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Agbor Balla was never sent. He doesn't speak for us, and he will never win. Have a great day.